Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Candid Talks with Proud Run Girl. இன்னைக்கு என்னோட யாருக்காங்க பார்த்தீங்கன்னா லிடியா மேம் இருக்காங்க. ஷீ இஸ் அ ஃபவுண்டர் ஆஃப் ட்ராமா டு ட்ரியம்ஃப் அகாடமி. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு வந்து நம்ம நிறைய மென்டல் ஹெல்த் அண்ட் ட்ராமா பற்றி அதெல்லாம் நம்ம பேச போகிறோம், பேசி தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். ஸோ தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச் மேம் ஃபார் யோர் டைம் டுடே.
Absolutely. What a topic to talk about, especially with you. I'm so excited to sharing and learning both ways. And yeah, let's begin.
When I saw your profile, it was very interesting, ma'am, because like a lot of Indians at least, even I didn't know what was MAP and everything when I read your profile. So I went and, I surfed on Google, like overall idea irukku, but I wanted to hear from you and to the audience also. Like I wanted you to tell a little bit more about yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm Lydia Binal, as introduced by you. I founded this signature program called Trauma to Triumph because I believe that each of us, right, have gone through trauma in some shape or form. And the statistics says that 60% of adults, we have been through some trauma, only that we don't know on a daily basis. So I went into this field for my clients. I was a business coach before this, and I was seeing my clients with so much of potential, but they were not able to stay consistent with those results, and they were not able to see how I was able to see them. And I started discovering that there is something more to success. There is something more that is contributing to amazing success, more than strategies, more than marketing, more than acing a social media. So appada I started discovering this whole area of subconscious rewiring, that we are the way we are. I decide the way I decide. I make money the way I make money. I show up the way I show up. I am that person to my husband the way I am because of my subconscious programming. So appola irundha than this whole journey started, and I myself have gone through my own beautiful share of childhood trauma, adulthood trauma. Right now I'm able to laugh about it. There was a time I couldn't even speak about it. There is so much of guilt and shame that comes over me even though I have gone through it. So appada I got into this whole field and then discovered MAP. Years of counseling, years of different therapy poi I was like so weary. இதுக்கு மேலே ஒரு ஹோப் இருக்குமா? Like, even though I was married at that time, I had kids, I was able to see that I was not functioning at my top potential. In our business I was not able to give 100% to my kids, to my marriage. My different worlds were crumbling. Appada MAP came into the picture, and I was like, this is a gift to humanity. I went ahead, got certified. I'm an award-winning certified MAP practitioner now. Helped more than 8,000 people so far. And I'm so blessed that I can bring this message that years of therapy ungalku thevilla. Not even 20 or 30. Within minutes, within moments, we can use subconscious rewiring. It's like a program. Anga poi reconciliation window between the neurons that we can open, and we can heal what has happened. And that is when I was like so hopeful, and the things that have happened in my past, I couldn't even imagine that I could think of it and I can't connect to it, right? And that is what MAP does. And you don't have to reshare, you don't have to remember, you don't have to relive that trauma. Oru thadava trauma itself is too much for us. But to go to that eye of the trauma again and again and sharing, that is what MAP doesn't do. And you don't even have to remember. And you can go and rewire it beautifully, fast, gentle, and almost completely painless. So okay. That is MAP.
So what is MAP, ma'am? Does it have an abbreviation as such?
Yeah. Make anything possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long is the session? Like I know how therapy works. Like I've been to therapy sessions and all. So how does this work? Like one session le seriyaaduma, or how long should we come? How does it work? Every நேரம் இருக்கும் ஒரு செஷன் எப்படி இருக்கும்?
Each session varies between 40 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the trauma. Just like weightlifting, we don't go to the gym on the first day and 200 kilos தூக்க மாட்டோம்ல. Similarly, we start with a small event, small memory, a small trauma, and then when our subconscious mind is catching up to it, we'll be able to deal with anything and everything slowly, right? So ஒரு செஷன்ல it depends on the depth of the trauma, right? But the beauty is, once you start with one area, every area of our life is interlinked. We think we go to work with a different mindset, a different person is going to work, but the same being is going to work. The same being is running the show at home. The same being is being the mother and the wife and all of that. So when there is inner turmoil that is happening within us, right, all these different areas of our life get affected. So yeah, as you said, you just need one session to rewire whatever trauma can be rewired in that session. Onnuthike you don't have to come for multiple times, right? And of course it depends on the depth and the impact of that trauma as well.
Okay. Since you spoke about subconscious mind and everything, ma'am, I'm halfway through a book called Power of Your Subconscious Mind. So I believe in law of attraction. It's like what you think is what you attract. So since you said about subconscious mind, is it similar to that thing, ma'am? Like, is it similar to the way you think? Is it similar to that kind of a thing, or it's like totally different? Like how we see trauma, like how we heal from it. ஸோ நான் நினைக்கிறத நான் அட்ராக்ட் பண்ணுவேன். ஸோ இப்போ நான் நெகட்டிவாக நினைக்கக்கூடாது, நான் பாசிட்டிவாக நினைச்சேனாக்கா நான் அந்த சுச்சுவேஷனை மாற்றுறேன். ஸோ இஸ் இட் சிமிலர், சம்திங் சிமிலர் டு தட்? No.
Definitely,
Okay.
it is connected.
Okay.
But what I want to bring is on the law of attraction, right? They say you can only attract what you are, right? So ulla turmoil and battle நடந்துட்டு இருந்தா what will you attract?
Okay.
That இல்லையா? So another thing is law of attraction. I'm not here to comment on that. But things like this, when you think positive, negative, abdini easier we talk about it. But the thing is, let's say inside in the arm there is a bone that is fractured. Imagine that. Will it be painful?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you come and tell me, Lydia, you're rumba painful. Here's the band-aid. I'll put the band-aid for you. Do you think that will help? Yeah. Okay, periya band-aid. You get big band-aids, la. Periya band-aid you put. Will it help? What will help?
Bone உள்ள ஹீல் ஆச்சுன்னா then okay.
And the root cause-க்கு போறது தான் is when it will heal. So what I do is, what we do in this whole process is, we go to the root cause, if you know it or not, and then we heal it. Then the bone is all fine. Adukapram we can use law of attraction, we can use manifestation techniques, all that will work. But none of that will work when the bone inside is broken.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're trying all the manifestation techniques, law of attraction course pannirkeenga, book if you've done all that and nothing works for you, you're like, hey, this is all BS. I don't want to do any more. I've taken enough effort. Abdina, there might be a hidden trauma that you thought, okay, this was normal growing up. This has happened to all of my friends, so it's normal. Not really. Probably your mind, I want you guys to remember, even for you, and I tell myself as well, your mind might forget, but your body will remember. We think it's the other way around, but mind-body connection is so powerful that your body will always remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, okay, how does this work out in Suri Yoshit again? Thank you for that explanation. So I also wanted to ask, ma'am, so why do women feel guilty for prioritizing themselves? How do you address it and how do you see that?
Yeah. So this guilt is a very interesting emotion, right? And I don't know if you know or not, guilt can go from generation to generation. It is passed down from generation to generation. So let's imagine a household in which a baby is born. And the baby has been looking up to the mom, dad, extended family growing up. And if the baby has always seen the mom sacrifice and that has been equated to love, what will the baby think?
It'll normalize it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. It'll think that sacrificing is what is love. The baby would have always seen the mom putting herself at the back seat. Back seat illa seat illama irukkalam. She's never in the picture, right? And this happened to my client. She's a doctor. She's from Pune. And obviously in that noble profession, especially when they are driven by a mission, or a mission-oriented doctor, which she is, even resting, she was thinking, oh, in this time I could be saving some lives. Resting started giving her guilt, right? So I want you to remember that, as I tell myself and my clients. If you do not have the awareness for your life, your body will start showing you awareness and it will ask you to stop at one point. Adhaan stress, anxiety, burnout, right? So the guilt is such a noble thing, some people think. Even I had that. When I'm with my clients, I used to think about my kids. Ayo, I'm not doing enough for my kids. I'm sitting here and doing all this for the whole world. And when I am with my kids, I'll be thinking, oh, my clients are suffering. I'm not there. I don't know. Have you experienced that?
Totally relatable.
La?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm actually not giving myself credit anywhere. And somewhere on the guilt gives you that, oh, I'm being responsible also. Have you felt that? If I'm not guilty, I don't feel responsible. I was in that toxic pattern, especially after my second born. It was COVID. COVID or the peak cases in Sydney, Australia, like that she was born. Only my husband could come in. We couldn't have, the borders were closed. 3 months I was fine, but after that, all my systems started shutting down. I went into postnatal depression in spite of my work, right? And that is because guilt is taken as, oh, you're actually being responsible. You have to feel guilty, right? And one thing I tell my clients when they come in, first thing we need to work on is guilt, blame, we need to shift out. You know why? When we feel that blame and guilt for a very long time, autoimmune disorder kicks into your body. Because your subconscious is like this: guilt, blame, yare? Myself. So your body is like, time to attack your own body. When an autoimmune disorder is, if anyone's watching this and they have autoimmune disorder or symptoms of it, ask yourself, where is that place I've been blaming myself relentlessly? Where is that place I've been feeling guilt towards myself? Once we rewire that pattern, you'll see things shifting, right? Let it be 2025. We are in 2025, but still that guilt, since we've been conditioned in our society like that, it just feels normal for us. But now we've come to a place where health is saying, hey, autoimmune disorder, hey, this is happening. Your body is screaming out for help, right? So yeah, I hope I've answered that question.
Yeah. I think all of us, ma'am, like while you were saying about how you felt guilty for prioritizing work, and then when you came to your kids, how did you feel? The same way, like even with my work life, ma'am, if I'm like taking 1 day break, I'll feel guilty. If I don't have work for 1 day, I'll be like, what am I doing? Is everything okay? I need to be always hustling. But as you said, like health right now, like everybody has health issues and everything. We're like so much, what to say, like everybody is into this hustle culture. We are glamorizing that, but then like this also takes a backseat, health. So as you said, like we should find a balance between both, I think.
Totally. Especially with our chronic condition, we don't realize that it is chronic. Or a Dolo 650, if we take, a headache will go. Why is your left eye always getting migraine? Have we thought?
Is there anything to do with the mind? I don't know. But why that side?
Left eye of your left eye, the migraine around your left eye could be related to insecurity about yourself.
Okay.
Right? And when I rewire that, my migraine shifts. It's gone permanently. Right? So our body is the biggest gift. Namada, we think of it as flesh and blood and organs. No. I want to bring another point. I don't know if you've not asked for it, but I thought this is valid here. Can you see internet, Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
can
we can't see. Yeah, we can't see.
But is it real?
Yeah.
It's real, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But you can't see, right? It works on your phone, so you can see it works and all that. But we've been taught that our thoughts, our beliefs, our values, our emotions doesn't play a role. Leah, I was in my mom's funeral. I'm in front of my mom. It's her funeral. It happened 5 years ago. God bless her. And there's this person very well known in our community came, held me like this and said, Lydia, don't cry, be strong. I feel like giving a slap actually. That's my mother. What do you mean be strong? What do you mean don't cry? Our society has become such a facade society. Romba facade based society that emotions have no value or emotions are looked at as you are being weak. Yeah, there is a saying, "Erva maadu mari valandirke ana you're crying." you're not strong. If you are like this, how will your kids be? Right? So, our thoughts, our beliefs about ourselves, about others, about our society, our emotions, all that takes some physical real estate, Tarima. It actually comes and lives in your body. And when it is there in your body for a very long time as unprocessed emotions, that's when it starts affecting, and then your blood work starts showing. Then your organ, probably a scan or something, starts showing. But the root cause is always that unaligned emotional and mental state.
Okay.
Which was shocking for me when I heard that. I never knew there is a physical real estate in my body that I carry to all the emotions that I feel. Yeah.
That's new to me as well, ma'am. I haven't heard or read about this before. So, yeah.
Yeah. We're not educated on that. And our culture has become in such a way that we just brush that away. We just brush that away and put it under the carpet. We are just fine. We are totally fine. We like to say that I'm fine. Yeah, it doesn't affect me. I'm very strong. But actually, we are crumbling inside. Yeah.
In our society, ma'am, being vulnerable is weak. Crying is weak. Showing emotions is weak. So I think that's how our brain also, like, subconscious mind, like, believes that, all these things are weak. So let me not show my emotions. That's how we shut down, I think.
Kandipa. And when that shutdown happens, all types of diagnosis catches up. And there also, we're not telling it's because of our unprocessed emotions. We are saying my liver is weak. We are saying there is block in my arteries. We only want to put weight on what we can see physically. But the root cause, when analyzed, when that awareness comes, we can beautifully allow this being to heal in a way that no doctor, no practitioner, nobody can heal that. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I also wanted to ask, ma'am, like, toxic relationship no therinjum, why are we attracting such kind of relationships, ma'am? Is there any, scientific reason behind that?
100% scientific. 100% scientific. That's one of the areas where women come to me, and this is the best way I could explain it, right? A known hell is better than an unknown abundance or an unknown heaven. This hell da, but I know it. I've lived in this for 30 years. It's going to burn a little bit. Whatever hell means to you, right? It's just going to burn a little bit. Konja discomfort, but itana varsha I've been in this. No, I'm actually better in this known hell and this unknown bliss. Yeah. Adanalada. So so when you think of that, right? For example, I can take my client. She always attracted emotionally. Okay. She always attracted emotionally unavailable partners. Epome. And when she came to me, Lydia, I'm just curious. You know how people don't have awareness. They'll ask, I'm just curious, is there any relation? Why am I always attracting this? Just like our question now. And I said, of course. And then when we started working, we found out that her dad was emotionally unavailable. He was an emotionally distant father. In our generation, we had fathers like that, right? I don't know if how many of us would have got that loving, fully encompassing, melting hug from our fathers, right? Right? So because of that, her subconscious mind equated love to something that has to be earned. So she was fine to earn it. So when that emotionally unavailable person came through, she was like, good enough for me. And then she understood that it was not meeting her needs. But because in words, she wanted that. Inside of herself, there was a void. There is that empty space. And she wanted that other person to fulfill it. She was okay to earn it. She was okay to do the hard work. But that person was not an emotionally available person. But when we went to the root cause and healed that, that is when we found out that, okay, Lydia loves Lydia. My goodness, I love Lydia with a passion. Lydia has been with me from day one. She's beautiful. I love her. When that space is filled completely, அது சும்மா சொன்னா வராது. Lydia loves Lydia. No, it doesn't happen. Self-love is shown as if, oh, pretty nails, beautiful hair, self compassion towards self. Appadan we'll be like, we are so content, then we will attract the right person. That there'll be a beautiful give and take. It won't be like, I am desperate, I need you, come on, fill me. You didn't say I love you today. No, it'll be more of a place of both of them will be giving and giving. And that'll be a beautiful cycle. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice, ma'am. So as you said, like I was just thinking of my own journey, ma'am. So I said you right, like before the podcast started, like I was going through my own shit through the arranged marriage process, and being in 30s and not married, I had to face a lot of questions from people around me, my very own family, friends, relatives, everywhere. Like I stopped going to functions. It was in that state of mind. So I was so desperate to get a partner, and when I was looking for a partner, like I didn't attract the right person. And then like one fine day I saw some YouTube videos about self-love and everything. So I started working towards myself. So I just focused on myself, what I wanted, what I loved the most. So for next 3 to 6 months, I just worked on myself, man. I stopped bothering about the questions that was thrown at me. I stopped worrying if I'll get a partner or not. So after working on myself, that's when I attracted this person, my current fiance. So that's when I realized when you're content with yourself is when you attract the right things. So when you said those points, I mean, like I could totally relate. So I don't know if it would have worked otherwise, but I'm very happy that I was content with myself, and only then he came into my life. Otherwise, like when there's a void within yourself, ma'am, there's no person who can come and fulfill it for you. People will tell, ஒரு லைஃப் பார்ட்னர் இருந்தால் எல்லாம் முடிஞ்சிடும், எல்லாம் சரியாயிடும். No, it's not like that, right? நீங்க சொன்ன பாயிண்ட்ஸ் வந்து totally relatable. Like, yeah, I could totally relate to it. So thank you for addressing it. ஏன்னா சயின்டிஃபிக்காக நீங்கள் அழகாக சொன்னீங்க. Like scientific reason I didn't know. நீங்கள் அழகாக இப்போ சொல்லும் போது I could totally relate.
Absolutely. And see how you came to that place very organically. How God or universe, whatever you believe in, directed you to come to that place, and that inner and the fulfillment irukla, and you came to that place beautifully. So that is what is called intuitively being guided towards your own healing, which is very beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I asked mainly about this toxic question for my very own friends who have been through several toxic relationships, and still they'll attract the same kind of person in the next relationship. I've also been there in my previous, relationships. But yeah, as you said, like I understood now, like what is the scientific reason behind that. So thank you for addressing it.
Absolutely.
And I also wanted to ask about childhood trauma, ma'am. What are the hidden signs that we are still carrying the childhood trauma with us?
Yeah. If you look at a 24-hour window, childhood trauma is telling hi everywhere. நமக்கு தான் தெரியல அப்படி ஒரு ஹாய் யாரோ சொல்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னு, right? For example, over-explaining, over-sharing. No is a sentence by itself. ஆனால் அந்த நோக்கு பின்னாடி ஒரு சின்ன எஸ்ஸே வரும். Why? அப்படின்னு நம்ம we have to validate. Seeking for validation outside. Some people might be in business and they might be a doer. And when a result comes and another opportunity goes for another level, they themselves self-sabotage it. So self-sabotaging is the biggest symptom that you have gone through some form of childhood trauma, which could be abuse, neglect. It could be not being accepted for who you are. Many things that could have happened, right? So yeah, oversharing. Over apologizing, saying sorry so many times. Can you believe in my own first baby shower, I called my friends and it's my baby shower. It's my beautiful day. I was apologizing to everybody who came that I was apologizing. What was I saying? Sorry. I was apologizing to everybody who came for different things I might have done to hurt them. It's on my baby shower. Can you believe that? And when I watch those videos, I'm like, what was I thinking? And I'm literally crying and I'm apologizing as if I've intentionally sat all of them and hurt them. But it is my day to celebrate. So that is what self-sabotage does. It blames us. We carry too much guilt for anything we do. right? So from within, there is this dissatisfaction that we might be attracted towards food to fulfill that. So unhealthy food habits is a symptom, right? And yeah, all these could be hidden traumas throughout, and we want to seek validation from our parents. We know that they are a different generation, but still we want to be that people pleaser. We want to make everybody happy except for this person. This person is not in the picture only, right? So all these could be different signs of trauma. And you might be extremely skilled, you might be extremely talented, you'll have leadership abilities, you might be really good with numbers to be a very good entrepreneur. Still, you can't get the result because doing, you have a belief that you have to do, and results don't come to me. And you will never feel good enough. You'll never feel good enough. You might feel like you are a fraud in doing certain things. If someone gives you an award, you'll be like, oh, it's okay. So many people are there. I don't know why I received that. If someone says you're beautiful, we'll be like, oh, I don't think so. My hair is actually, I had a bad hair day today. We will have all the reasons to take any compliment for what it is. So all these are little, we can talk about this for a whole day, but these are little symptoms that can come through the day. And we might not have a voice in our team or a meeting because we feel like we might have to take a smaller space because it was told to us that we cannot take a bigger space in a room of people, right? So yeah, just a few signs of hidden childhood trauma.
I think 2 or 3 I have, ma'am. I still have. I didn't know those were childhood trauma until you said. This one I wanted to ask, ma'am, which is again difficult for me. Setting boundaries. It's so difficult, ma'am. Especially for women, I think. So why do you think is the reason? And how can we set boundaries efficiently?
Setting boundaries in the concept, it was foreign for us, right? We've only seen our parents, or I don't know what kind of household you've been brought up in. Setting boundaries was a foreign concept. Why should you set boundaries? Like, then we are not being that cultural. All of those things come into your. There is a guilt in setting boundaries in the first place, right? So sorry, what was the question?
Setting boundaries. Why is it difficult?
Yeah, because the societal conditions have been that way, right, for so long, that setting boundaries, first of all, is wrong. You're being very selfish, you're being self-centered, you're individualistic, you're independent. There is a negative connotation to all that. Adanala, we shy away from setting boundaries. But when you talk about close family relationships, that is when setting boundaries is very hard. And we, as an Indian community, we still have a very close relationship with our parents, our in-laws, even after we get married. So that's when setting boundaries becomes even more harder because the expectation is otherwise. For my client, right, she got married. Both the parents were abroad. They got married in India. And so the parents' time with the children after they got married is also limited. I'm telling you the context. In that limitedness, they wanted to go for honeymoon, which is normal, right? Is it normal to go for honeymoon? The parents said, anyways, you're going to live your life together. Why do you have to go to honeymoon? You have very less time with us. Okay. Right? So that's a valid point for them. But that is where it's an opportunity for us to set boundaries. Right? So for women, in this scenario, we can't set a boundary. The best thing is for the man to set the boundary there. The man should set the boundary there, so that he will validate the fact that it is important that we have to go on a honeymoon. At the same time, yes, your parents make it very cherishable and intentional and build memories while that little time that you have. We have this concept of more time, more memories, more joy. But no, in one day, 1 hour also, you can build so many memories. And then you can still go away with your partner for a honeymoon. So that's just one example. But women, we've never been asked to speak up, right? When I was growing up, my mom used to say, "Ivlo vai pesrani, onkita yaar vanda matta poranga." Right? I've heard that all my life. And my neighbor, my friend, she used to be so soft spoken. And my relatives used to say, நீ ஏன் தீபா மாதிரி பேச முடியாது உன்னால? நீ ஏன் இப்படி ரஃபா பேசுற? Right? Because we are not accepted for who we are, and setting boundaries from a woman's perspective is considered arrogant, is considered unacceptable, and it also reflects that her husband is actually weak. That's why she is running the show. So all these perceptions irukrappo, we look around and we are like, in this situation நம்ம boundary set பண்ணணுமா? வேண்டவே வேண்டாம். I'll be attracting more trauma. But the thing is, especially in an, let's say, what do you call that? கூட்டு குடும்பம், joint family.
Joint family.
Especially in a joint family setup, we can't run away, right? Can we? We can't run away. We have that. If you've gone into a joint family setup, it is what it is. What you can do, practical steps. Would you like to know practically what women can do to set boundaries? What you can do is probably have or 2 habits. Pick 2 habits that can mentally disconnect, but because physically you can't disconnect in that space, illaya? So mentally you can disconnect. For example, 2 habits. One can be put your headphones on. That should tell you that, okay, they are operating from their trauma. Now I'm creating a boundary because of my headphones. Mentally disconnect, because you need to protect your peace, isn't it? Right? And if that trigger is coming to you again and again, let's say from your mother-in-law, sister-in-law, or anybody for that matter, or even from your husband, know that or current illama there is no trigger. So it's a call to heal what is beneath the surface for you. Because a similar situation might have happened in your childhood, or some neighbor would have disturbed you in some area, some comment. So it is a call to healing that space. And then even if they operate from their trauma, right, you'll just smile and say, okay, mommy, no problem, right? They might not like it, but you're not giving them a reaction to feed their toxic trait. Only that is their prey. If you talk about victim and predator, when we don't respond and we react, our anger, our frustration, நம்ம மூஞ்சியை சுழிச்சிட்டு போகிறது, all these only they like. That is why they are doing. They will also start reflecting our healing when we heal what is beneath the surface. I hope
Yeah, thank you for beautifully like putting that out, ma'am. I think joint familyல இருக்க people யாராவது பார்க்குறாங்கன்னா அவங்களுக்கு ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஸோ இட்ஸ் லைக் ஹவு யூ ரியாக்ட் டு த சிச்சுவேஷன், அதுதான் பேசிக்லி சொல்கிறீங்க இல்லையா? ஸோ நீங்கள் சொல்லும் போது ஐ வாஸ் திங்கிங் while I was driving to the podcast today, like I was fighting with a guy. So like just because he said me ஏதோ ஒன்று ட்ரிகர் பண்ண மாதிரி சொன்னதுன்னு I got like, super angry. I shouted back and he shouted back. Like as you said, when we see that, you know, அவங்க ட்ராமாவில் ரியாக்ட் பண்ணுறாங்கன்னு when we don't react, அப்படி தானே நீங்கள் சொல்கிறீங்க. ஸோ ஐ திங்க் அப்படி பண்ணால் சிச்சுவேஷனை பெட்டராக ஹேண்டில் பண்ணலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன். So yeah,
reaction versus response. Reaction is நீ என்ன கத்துனியா, நான் உன்னை இன்னும் கத்துறேன். This is reaction. Normal, அது human அது. Yeah, I don't want you to feel guilty for that. It's normal. You're a human being, right? And a response is taking a few deep breaths. Okay, that person is probably reacting from their trauma, and avangalodu doesn't have to affect this beautiful girl.
okay,
Your trauma doesn't have to affect me. So I take a few deep breaths and then I respond. Yeah, a simple response, usually in the road rage irukala, road rage la irukku, simple response would be just look at them and say, are you okay? And they'll be confused because they want or a back answer that is going to escalate into a fight, right? I've tried that. My husband taught me this. Road rage, ஒரு 2 lane merge ஆகிற இடத்துல there'll be only 1 lane, 2 lane இங்கே merge ஆகணும் அங்கே ஆஸ்திரேலியாவில். And my husband will be like, he'll just look up, are you okay mate? அப்படின்னுவாங்க. And he wouldn't have anything to say. இல்லைன்னா ஒரு 4 வார்த்தை காது குளிர கேட்டிருக்கணும் நம்ம, right? So simple tip, just look into their eyes, just lean forward a little bit and say, are you okay? And then they'll know that they are not okay. That is response versus reacting.
okay. that's of like a really helpful tip for me, ma'am. Trust me, because recently, like now பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, people think that I'll never get angry, I'm always sweet and everything, but I am generally like that. But யாராவது என்ன like when there's like என்ன செல்ஃப் ரெஸ்பெக்ட் பண்ணாம ஏதாவது பண்ணாங்கன்னா I'll be like super angry, ma'am. அப்ப என்ன வேர்ட்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ண கூட எனக்கு தெரியாது, அவ்வளோ கோவம் வந்து நான் பேசிடுவேன். ஸோ ரீசெண்டாக I was thinking I should work on myself. ஏன் இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம ரியாக்ட் பண்ணோம்? நீங்கள் சொன்ன பாயிண்ட் வந்து எனக்கு ஆக்சுவலாக ரொம்ப 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 ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். பிகாஸ் நான் நிஜமாக ட்ரைவ் பண்ணும்போது நினச்சிட்டு வந்தேன், ஏதாவது இது பண்ணணும், நம்ம எப்படி கோவப்படுறோம் அப்படின்னு நினச்சிட்டு வந்தேன். பட் நீங்கள் சொன்னதை வந்து நான் கண்டிப்பாக எடுத்துப்பேன். ஸோ தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச் ஃபார் தட் அட்வைஸ். இந்த கொஸ்டின் வந்து லைக் நான் பீப்புளுக்காக எழுதினேன், பட் இது எனக்கே நீங்கள் அழகாக ஆன்சர் சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க. ஸோ தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் தட்.
But in saying this, don't ever think that I am perfect sitting in this seat. I have my own journey. I have my own flaws. யாராவது அவங்க பர்ஃபெக்ட் they've achieved everything, நான் இப்படி பர்ஃபெக்ட் சொன்னால் திரும்பி பார்க்காம ஓடிருங்க. Run away from those people. I have my own journey. I have my own little creepy things that happen in my life, but that awareness is what matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since we spoke about trauma, ma'am, can trauma be passed on to other generations, to the next generations?
Kandipa. 200%. And I'm not the first person to tell this. Science has backed up. You can go and research. More than 30 to 45 years, research has been so strong. Dr. Bruce Lipton, he's still alive. One of the oldest, amazing body of work that he's done around this. My thought, my trauma goes and affects my DNA and genetic expression. Can you believe that? I'm a biotechnologist by background, and அந்த காலத்தில் 2004 to 8ல எபிஜெனட்டிக்ஸ் படிக்கிறப்போ that research hasn't caught up into our books. அது இல்லை, எல்லாத்துக்கும் அவங்க ஜீன்ஸ். Have you heard that? கோவப்படுறாங்க, அவங்க ஜீன்ஸுக்கு, அவங்க அப்பாவும் கோவப்படுவாங்க, அவங்க கோவப்படுறாங்க, ரைட்? அது ஜீன்ஸ் ஒன்று மாற்ற முடியாது. Have you heard that? அவங்க அம்மாவுக்கு they have diabetes and we can't change it. You can change it. And that gene comes into an expression, meaning a reality, only when it is triggered. Do you know that? Only when it is triggered, it becomes alive. Adu varaikum it is a dormant gene. So a trauma changes that genetic expression. So if I do not work on my healing today, I have 2 little kids and I desire them to have their own generations if that is their choice. I'll be passing on my trauma as a beautiful little gift wrapped in all the genetic material, generation after generation after generation. Plus, my kids would have to go for their therapy and subconscious rewiring and healing by having me as their parent, because my expression is not right. I would have contributed to their childhood trauma by being this unhealed parent, which I have been in many instances, and I have still got the awareness, certain things that I'm still working towards.
Okay. So since you said like trauma can be passed on to the other generations, can the past trauma be healed, ma'am? Is it possible?
Totally can be healed. Totally can be healed. If you are willing, complete heal panna mudiyum. If you listen to my childhood trauma and my adulthood trauma, you'll be wondering, okay, do you want to chop that guy into pieces? Do you want to help a battalion to face this injustice that has happened to you? You might say that. But I have come to this space after using MAP. I can remember that event. I can remember those people, but I cannot connect to it. It resolves it from that root cause. Can be totally healed no matter what you have been through. It can totally be healed.
So that's when MAP comes into picture.
MAP comes into picture because cross-generational trauma can be healed through MAP. And preconception trauma nu onnu irukku. Before we were conceived, in the mother's womb, the situation, the anger and whatever emotions our mom has felt and our parents, what happened around that situation determines a lot of things. MAP helps in releasing and rewiring that preconception trauma as well. We won't remember, but that's when MAP comes into picture. It's an unknown trauma, known trauma. Renduthiyume we can handle with MAP. So no matter what you've been through, any trauma for that matter, it might feel injustice, It might feel this is wrong that has happened to me. All those questions, no matter what you've been through, complete healing is possible if you are willing to come to the table. That's all that requires.
Okay, ma'am. And when we talk about therapy, now therapy போறேன்னு சொன்னாலே people will think that she has mental health issues. So how to break this stigma, ma'am? இந்தியாவில் வந்து I don't know how was it in Australia, but இந்தியாவில் வந்து அது இப்போ வரைக்கும் ஒரு பெரிய ஸ்டிக்மா தான். தெரப்பி போறேன்னு சொன்னாலே தெரியாம தான் போற மாதிரி இருக்கும். ஸோ அந்த ஸ்டிக்மா வந்து how do you think we can break it?
Unfortunately, the population around us is a lot. No matter if you're in Australia or India, we can't convince or get validation from others for what is happening to us, right? For example, நான் சொன்னேன்ல அந்த fracture, immediately your parents என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க, இல்லை அந்த ஃப்ராக்சரே இல்லைன்னு நீ நினச்சிக்கோ அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்களா? இந்த ஃப்ராக்சர் ஆக்சுவலி உள்ளே இருக்குது, அது ஃப்ராக்சரே நடக்கலை. Just think that the fracture is not there. Put a positive mindset and move on with your life. Will they say that? No, right? But they will say, if you're saying I'm feeling depressed, I can't even lift my finger, my kitchen is a mess, there is something happening with me, I need help, they'll say, get on with life. What are you saying? Just move on. நாங்கெல்லாம் 13 பிள்ளைங்களை பெத்தலையா? They will say, we had 13 children, we raised them up so well. What are you saying? You just have 2 kids. You're being irresponsible, right? There is that stigma. What can you do? We can't do much. What can I do? I can look after this being. I can look after this Lydia that is gifted to me. Nothing else is going to come with me other than Lydia. Everything else is a platform. It just moves on, right? So I have to take up myself seriously and look after myself no matter what the stigma is. If you have to tell a lie and go for therapy, go. You don't need anyone's validation to look after yourself. Take what help you require in the way you require. If someone can come on par with you and say, I understand what you're going through, I have a really good contact, go to this person, attend this session, in 12 weeks you'll be here. Take it up. If your husband supports you, go for it. If your husband doesn't support you, find ways to heal yourself. Because if you don't heal yourself, you are this ripple effect. Understand? You are this ripple effect. Your marriage will start losing its charm. Another symptom of childhood trauma. You will love the person, but when it comes to intimacy, you might not be able to have intimacy. Intimacy is not an act. It is an emotional game. Right? It is not a physical act. So similarly, you look after yourself no matter what. Right? If you want your parents to support you with this, it will never happen probably. They will pass on into glory or everlasting life, whatever you want to call that, in 30, 40, 50 years. But you're going to be here for some time, right? Yeah. So ask yourself what is important to you. And you might think Australia might be a different situation. No one is going to say, oh, actually I went for therapy. Yeah, I've been going there for 2 years. No one's going to say that. But you understand your being. This being is not just flesh and blood and bones. More than that. There is emotions. There is a mental faculty. You have to look after yourself. Yeah, you can't break that stigma. Just find your own little community. Community plays a major role. For me, MAP community, my MAP little community played a major role. Because whatever you've been through, they'll be like, yeah, okay. But in fact, I wouldn't even be able to voice it out in another setting. So go to those safe spaces that people have built. There are amazing human beings on this planet Earth who are doing beautiful healing work. Go plug yourself into that community. Be vulnerable. Heal yourself. Get your hands dirty if you have to. Come out as a powerhouse because you are one. Not because you're healed. You have always been a powerhouse. Yeah.
So well said, ma'am. Nice. So I also wanted to ask about comfort zones. Comfort zones sonale, why do people fear of leaving it, ma'am? Is there any scientific reason behind that?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
Comfort zone சொன்னாலே why do people fear of leaving it? Comfort zone ல நிறைய பேர் வெளியே வரவே மாட்டாங்க. I was there, like என்னோட previous job for like 7 to 8 years. I was in the same company for my very own reasons. Like a comfort zone some basically. I didn't even like give interviews to the other companies. And one point I was like, இல்ல நீ அதை விட்டு வெளியே வந்தாதான் உனக்கு தெரியும். And then I started applying. I came out. So it's really difficult once நீங்க ஒரு இதுக்கு பழகிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா அந்த கம்ஃபர்ட் ஜோன் விட்டு வெளியே வரது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். So why do you think is the reason? அதுல இருந்து எப்படி ஈஸியா வெளியே வரலாம்?
Ask yourself this question: do I want to die in this hell? Again, going back to that hell and heaven analogy. Do you want to end your life, die in this hell, or you want to explore this unknown heaven which could give you more happiness, more joy, and less pain? Yeah, just because you're comfortable in hell doesn't mean it's a great place. But you have to decide. One has to decide. I have to decide if this is what I want. I can't be in hell and keep thinking about, oh, a little bit of that heaven will be nice, or that will be nice. It doesn't work. You have to physically go out, right? So we are so tuned over centuries or thousands of years that security is very important for us. Security is a human need. It is a human need. Imagine this ship, okay? It has an anchor. Anchor, there is an anchor. So what you put the anchor into the ocean at one point, why do you put that?
To make the ship stop.
Correct.
Stop from moving anywhere.
Correct. What if the ship had tons and tons and tons of weight? What would happen? It'll be quite heavy. Right? And let's say the anchor has gone way deeper than what it's meant to be. Some people think that anchor is actually giving them that security, safety. But it's actually stuckness. There's a difference between being rooted in a place and being stuck in a place. So ask yourself, and the ship, just think of this ship analogy. You want that anchor to give you that safety for a moment, for a while, or are you thinking of that as safety and you're comfortable being stuck? And whatever your answer is, go down that path. And because if you want stuckness, so be it. Who am I to tell that stuckness is not good? If you desire stuckness, if that is giving you peace of mind, being in hell is your place, you want to be there, so be it. But if you do want to come out of that stuckness and you want to use the anchor just for anchoring the ship and not to be stuck, there are ways to get out of it as well.
Okay, ma'am. It helps. So I also wanted to talk about men, ma'am. So ஒரு பொண்ணு மாதிரி அழாத, be strong. This is what we tell to boys. So why do you see it as a weakness when it comes to men? When they cry, we see that as weakness. So அது ஏன் அப்படி நினைக்கிறீங்க? And is it good? Obviously, I know it's not good, but நீங்க சொல்லுங்க.
Yeah, I have a little boy. He's 8 years old, and he's an emotional boy, right? And every time he cries, my in-laws and my parents used to say, boys in the marla azhakudadu, right? Ava paru, and my daughter is very little. She's 4 years old. Ava paru, ava eppadi irka? Nee azhara, that immediate comparison. That's because we idolize men as gods, and we forget that gods have emotion. Yes or no? Have you seen gods having love?
Yeah.
Have you seen gods having romance? Have you seen gods having anger, wrath? Yeah. There is a scripture that says Jesus wept, which means he had emotions as well. But somehow we don't like to give that space to emotions as if it is real. And we want men to be those strong, macho men. I started working with men only after my clients who are women, they were healed and their husbands are like, what's happening? How come you're not blowing up the house after this? How come the same conversation, you're just leaving and going? You're at peace. You're interested in intimacy. Like, what is happening with you? And then they come. They're like, I want the same transformation what my wife has had, right? So men don't need to man up anymore. Men, you guys need to heal up, right? And emotion is like a wave, Uma. You know, that wave, it's like a wave. And what we say is, this wave can't be like this. Put a wall there. Stop. 2 minutes, you cried for 2 minutes. Now stop, move on, and just get on with it. For us, it is all about getting on with it. We can't sit with emotion. We can't sit with emotion, right? And it's not just for men. Now it's for women as well. Have you ever seen in a corporate place where after getting blasted by a manager, has anyone told, okay, now you're feeling bad, please go and cry? Or if you're crying, it's looked up, it's not looked up, it's looked down, right? So it comes back to that point of vulnerability is not celebrated. Real, showing the real person of who you are is not celebrated. It's that facade. It's that scripted. It's what is expected of you. Husband na இப்படிதான் இருக்கணும், மென்னுனா இப்படிதான் இருக்கணும், right? And we also have this false, it's so funny, we also have this false notion that when the man shows his vulnerable self, the whole house will crumble. கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? The wife, if she comes to know about this, the whole house will feel very down. So I can't let my house down. Dude, you're not letting your house down. In fact, you're becoming an amazing leader by being a beautiful human being. Human kulle man, human, right? So you are a human by the end of the day, but because of all our societal conditions and the conditioning, that is expectation and the pressure, that man has forgotten to connect with himself, right? And even if he cries and the tears veliya varathukulla, it dries up, because that is how much guilt he has. Ayyo, this is not right, I'm not doing right for the family. So what will happen? Unprocessed emotions enga pogum? Goes into your body. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not right. It really annoys me when I hear that men should not cry. I'll be like, no, they have to be allowed to feel those emotions. And you will see those heart-centered men coming out. You know how they will lead a company? Do you know how they will lead a team? Do you know what decisions they will take for their family? Beyond comprehension. Those are the real gem of leaders. Once in a generation leader na solvanga. Those will be the men. And I desire to raise my son like that. Yeah. Just allowing him to be him.
He should be like so proud. I know he's too young to understand all of these, but maybe when he grows up, he should be like really proud of you.
I hope so.
Yeah. Because I don't think so, ma'am. Nariya mothers வந்து அந்த மாதிரி they don't let the children be themselves இல்லையா? அவங்க பையன் அழுதாலே அழக்கூடாது, அந்த மாதிரி பொண்ணு மாதிரி அழக்கூடாது அப்படிதானே சொல்லி நான் வளர்ந்துருக்கேன், கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கேன். ஸோ ஐ திங்க் இந்த கான்வர்சேஷன்ஸ்லாம் நம்ம இப்போ பண்ணுறது வந்து ஐ திங்க் பீப்புளோட பர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ் மைண்ட் செட் மாறும். ஐ திங்க் யூ வில் ஹேவ் டு டாக் அ லாட் அபவுட் பீப்புள் லைக் யூ. இதை பற்றி நிறையா பேசணும். ஸோ அதெல்லாம் பார்க்கும்போது ஐ திங்க் பீப்புள் வில் சேஞ்ச். லெட்ஸ் நார்மலைஸ் when men cry அப்படின்னு சொல்லி. ஸோ அது அழகாக நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்க. நைஸ் மேம்.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
And when it comes to childhood trauma in men, ma'am, how does it affect their relationship and career?
Big time. So let's say this is the boy who had the childhood trauma, right? We talk about so many sexual abuse that has happened to girls. There is a huge sea of men who have gone through bad touch and sexual abuse. And they never even speak about it. They think of it as an episode, you should just move on. That's it. But they don't know how much they're carrying. So let's say this is the little boy who went through childhood trauma. And this is his potential, let's say. And he will forever always be this only, even though his potential is this much. You will see his bank balances going up and down. As an adult, his life would have already been shaped by that childhood trauma. Right? He might earn a lot. He might not be able to put good use to that money or investment property or a video. I'm not saying that is what defines your success. No, it doesn't. But he wouldn't be able to do all that if that was his desire. Right? And he might have so much of potential, but he'll be able to only play small according to those boundaries of childhood trauma. In marriage, he'll have so much of love for his wife and children. Sorry, in marriage, so much of love for his wife, but he won't be able to show that. There'll be that barrier that is stopping him because there is fear, there is insecurities, there is fear of failure will be a huge thing that runs in his mind. Right? I have compassion towards men who have gone through that because in my own very close circle, I know people who have gone through that. They would love to give a beautiful intimacy and romance to their wives, but they won't be able to work it out and get there. In fact, they retreat. And the wife will be wondering, what just happened? Like, this is not what I signed up for. But he is not himself. He'll have super potential for leadership for many things in his skill or whatever, but he'll not be able to just achieve that. He'll not be able to grow into that in all its fullness. There'll be a misalignment. But once you heal that, right, he'll become the entrepreneur on fire. He'll be the leader of the house with so much of grace. He'll be the risk taker who doesn't take crazy risks, but takes the right step in the right time. He will start seeing himself, presenting himself to be in the right room at the right time with the right audience. The stars align, all that will start happening for him. Yeah. Till then, there'll be a hit and miss.
Okay. So, நம்ம அதை address பண்ணாதான் he'll be like, okay, in the relationships and the career, எல்லாமே.
Because childhood trauma ஒரு பிளாக்கை கிரியேட் பண்ணிடுதுல. இந்த ஒரு பிளாக் இருக்கு. And அந்த பிளாக்கை he doesn't know what to do. He'll think this much only. அவ்வளோதான். And then the fear, அதை cripple பண்ணி his boundaries become very small. Yeah. And there is so much of shame and guilt attached to it. He might think it is only this event, but what it does to you, what belief comes out of that, what value and identity he starts seeing himself through those lenses. When that shifts is where the magic happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask about this, ma'am. Like, negative thoughts, how do we stop them? Because it's not always possible to be positive. So how do we stop the negative thoughts?
Yeah. Beautiful question. Positive thoughts, negative thoughts, அப்படி பேசுறப்போ, let's talk about affirmations. Affirmations is something positive, right? So let's say the same image. This is affirmation. We say, I am the best, I am good looking, adella. But the inner being says, I am worst, I am ugly, I am dirty. And the way affirmations, that positive thought itself creates lots of friction and it takes you backward. Do you know that? So negative thoughts, when it comes, it is just a symptom to you, your body and your mind, your being telling you, hey, it's time to heal. Let's take it a bit one step closer, just like how you did, right? How you did. You were organically led to that beautiful place of being content with who Uma is, who she is beautifully, right? So similarly, I would love you to first become aware if they are negative in the first place. Take your phone, switch your camera on. If you're feeling you're being so negative, record yourself. Just put the phone somewhere, record yourself. Just speak your mind out. No filters whatsoever. Leave it there for a couple of days. Come back to the video, watch it. If you tell that, oh my goodness, is this what I was feeling? That's very negative. That means you can ask yourself, what is behind that? And the negative, whatever you spoke, Liddy, whatever you spoke, what is behind that? And if you can come to that place of awareness, then we can bullseye, go there and heal. But if it is a big trauma, please go and ask for help, right? Because some people, right, negative thoughts come and go. But for some people, let's say I have a stomach ache. They might immediately associate, do I have colon cancer? Right? I'm having a hair fall, alopecia is happening, hair fall, patched hair fall. Okay, do I have some tumor that is coming up in a different way? So that extreme sense of fear of something really bad happening to you is a trauma response, right? How can you stop? I can give you a simple tip. Get into a quiet space. If there's no quiet space, go to the bathroom. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Breathe in with your nose. Breathe out with your mouth. Gently. Put a screen in front of you in your mind, probably a green screen, and bring that negative thought into that screen. Keep breathing. And you can tell this to your superconscious. Superconscious, heal what is on the screen and the root cause to what is creating these patterns. And keep breathing for another 1 to 2 minutes. You'll see the magic happen.
Okay.
Yeah. But if it is one-off negative emotion, so what we're doing here is 2 neurons. It's like this. And this negative emotion is the expression here. What we're doing is opening up the reconciliation window and then allowing this negative emotion to heal, and then we are closing it up. So this is what happens at a micro level, if you see, in your brain, right? So, but if it is a one-off, that's fine. This will work. This will work either ways. But if there is a big trauma behind this, go and get help, because it is not normal for a human being to keep thinking of negative emotions all the time. Negative emotions is important because our subconscious mind has been trying to protect us for thousands of years, because the tiger would come from somewhere, somebody else might be attacking you, the next tribe might be trying to kill you. So your protector controller, we call it protector controller, is heightened at that time, right? So it's a very simple thing. If your protector controller is heightened, you just need to negotiate with your protector controller and bring it down and say, it's okay. It's not happening that way, right? So yeah, awareness is key. Awareness is key here. Yeah.
Okay. So for the married couple, I wanted to ask this, ma'am. Mother-in-laws, they think that their son is theirs even after marriage. Is it fair? Because I think that's where all the problem starts between the daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law. So how can a daughter-in-law deal in such situations, ma'am?
Yeah. I'll give you an example for this, right? There is this mom and son. There is this mom and son. The mom gave birth to the little one and she came to Mumbai. The father is in another country working, right? This is a scenario. So for the next 12 years, this mom and son alone are growing up together in the city of Mumbai. This is my friend's. This is my friend's mother-in-law was telling me this. She was telling me, and she was sharing that, that life I had with Monu for 12 years, just me and him. You should have seen the beam of smile she had. Yeah, this is my best friend's mom-in-law, right? And she said, 12 years it was just me and Monu. We woke up together, we ate together, we went shopping together, right? The father was working in another country. So what do you think happens in these 12 years? So much of emotional bonding and interaction, to that extent that the mother regulates her nervous system and whatever she is going through with the son, right? She might be missing the husband. What would she do? She would come to the little one and cry. So the children are exposed to such emotional regulation that they had to be a part of. So that bond is so strong, right? So after he gets married, what happens? It's a different ball game, right? But still that bond that she has for the son is so precious, so precious. And this daughter-in-law is also here in the picture. So it is not, the good news is the daughter-in-law doesn't have to do anything. In a perfect scenario, I'll come to the next scenario. In a perfect scenario, the daughter-in-law should not be doing anything. The mom-in-law should understand that this is the next phase of life. She can love the son to bits. At the same time, understand that it is the wife's husband, that space she has to give. Because that is what is the most beautiful thing that she can actually give to her son, isn't it? Right? That is the mother-in-law's duty, right? Then the husband's duty. The husband needs to crack the code for himself. He needs to understand how he can be the son for the mother, and more than that, he has to slowly establish within the family that he is the husband of this girl and she is number one in his life. That doesn't mean he is going to shrug off the mom. No, he can still love the mom, but not at the cost of the daughter-in-law, of the wife. Not at the cost of the wife, isn't it? So that's what's been happening for years. It has been the love to the mother has been given at the cost of pushing the wife away, which doesn't have to happen. So it is the husband's ball game. So husbands, rise up, heal yourself, rise up, do the right thing. When I was getting married, one of our premarital counselors said, only last red litmus test for your husband before you say yes to him. Just go and present the scenario to your husband, he said. I said, okay, what is it? We knew each other for 5 years and then he asked me to marry. I was confused. How will I marry a friend? Like, I don't know. I have not fallen in love with him. So how will I say yes, right? And he said, okay, this is the last red litmus test. Go and ask him this. You're married. You guys are married. And I have done something wrong. And my mother-in-law has pointed that out to my husband. How will he react? Who will he support? The right answer is, for him to pass the test, is I will support Lydia. Right? In front of my mom. Right? Anything other than that, I will bring both of them to the table. I will discuss. I will do diplomatic. All that is fail, he said. I said, okay, fine. This is not going to go forward. Easy. Okay, this is not going to fall. Who will know at that age, 26, 27 years old, to answer like this, right? I told this to my now husband at that time, my friend. I told this. So who will you support? I asked. I still remember we were sitting in Crystal Cafe in Waterloo. He said, I will support you only, Lydia. I said, did someone leak the question paper to you? He said, what do you mean? He said, I will support you only because you are new into my family. Who will support you? First of all, you shouldn't leave your family. This is what he said. You shouldn't leave your family and come into my house. Both of us belong to both families, but somehow the culture is that you have to come. That itself is a big deal. So I have to make it more comfortable for you rather than put more pressure on you. So it is the husband's game. Husbands, heal up and own up to be that strong person to your wife. So the woman doesn't have to do anything. That is a perfect scenario. The mother-in-law understands, loves to bits, still understands the bigger picture. Second, the husband acts like the husband. The woman doesn't have to do anything. She just needs to love, receive love, and be herself. In a situation where this is not happening, all you can do is heal yourself, and that reflection will change. Your husband will see that change, and your world will start reflecting you. It might sound crazy. When people come into the Trauma to Triumph, they're like, Lydia, what are you saying? My bank account is going to start becoming better. I'm going to get promotion. My marriage is going to get better. That guy, I will do anything to that guy. You're telling all that is going to get better just by healing myself? Yes. Because your world will start reflecting you. And all of that will change. Then you and your husband become a team. Till then, you're by yourself. Not knowing, oh, this is all happening. Mother-in-law is being so toxic. Sister-in-law, I'm so scared of her. My husband, he doesn't even understand, doesn't want to stand up for anything. But when you start healing yourself, he comes on board. Then you both, together, you are a team. Then you can start putting those boundaries. Physically, you can't. Mentally disconnect. Mentally start putting boundaries. It's a slow process. It might feel like one drop at a time, but it will fill up. You will see those shifts.
Nice. Okay. Nice. No, I was just lost in thoughts because since I'm going to get married, I was just thinking like, how can I apply this to the family I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. And we've almost come to the end of the session. So I wanted to ask like last few things, ma'am. One thing is like you can't change parents. So is there any way to deal with them? Because my parents are like above 60s. You can't go and change them, ma'am. It's really difficult. They'll be like, "Ella only than panne." They'll never know if we really like what we are doing or not. But அவங்களுக்காக இது பண்ற மாதிரி இருக்கும். So how to deal with it? You can't hurt them as well. So எப்படி deal பண்றது?
I can't even change my husband. I can't change my kids. If you are thinking that you can, you can't. just in case you're wondering, I can't. But I can be a guiding light. I can be a guiding light, and that is why your core inner self should be so strong that you know who you are. First thing, let's keep the parents aside, right? That's a very good question. Let's keep the parents aside. I want you to know who you are. Be so connected with yourself. And I want you to ask this question: how important on a scale of 1 to 10 is getting that A-OK approval, tick mark from your parents and the validation? How important is it? You don't have to answer, but right? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 வந்து I don't need their validation. I am totally fine by myself. But 10 I want their validation. I am a firstborn. Firstborns always tend to have a higher sense of validation, right? Even now, at this age, I want that validation sometimes, and it's a thing for me to work on sometimes, right? So, on the validation, I want to understand myself for who I am. And then when we look at parents, right, very beautifully from a place of not getting emotional, not creating drama, not creating ruckus in the family dynamics disturb pannama, we'll be able to have such conversations. Sofa பக்கத்துல உட்கார்ந்து நம்ம அப்பா கிட்ட அம்மா கிட்ட அவங்கள சேஞ்ச் பண்றதுக்காக இல்லை, but to tell them about what I want to do. I might not get their validation. They might not understand what we are doing, but still they'll be at peace with what we are doing. That is enough. We will come to that place. You know why we don't come to that place? We are scared. ஒரு டிஸ்கம்ஃபர்ட் இருக்கும். அப்பா கூட எப்படி இங்கே உட்காந்து நான் என் சாஃப்ட்வேர் வேலையை விட்டுட்டு ஐம் கோயிங் டு டூ திஸ்ன்னு எப்படி சொல்கிறது? How am I going to say that I want to migrate to another country? How am I going to say that I'm going to take a citizenship? That was a big topic in my house. To leave this citizenship and to take how are you going to say that? But when we deal with our own shit, if you have to say, and clear all that so beautifully, we will be so comfortable in our skin. We'll be able to, appa, vandu ukkarunga. Ma, vandu ukkarunga ma. We'll be able to do that, and you'll be surprised. They are adaptable. They take it. Right? Not to come from a place of you need to validate this, but to let them know and also to give them that space to process it. They will actually support you. You'll be surprised. As I said, when we are so sure of what we do, and the inner battle irukla, it's like a friction. Because I myself, I'm at that. How can I communicate that to others? Adu illama, when there is a free flow of that inner being, the other person also catches up. It's actually contagious. Eppadi Sunday will go like that, this is also actually very contagious. Yeah. So you don't have to deal with that. All you need to do is write. I would love you to write. அப்பா கிட்ட பேசுறதுக்கு என்னெல்லாம் பயம். இட் மைட் ஆக்சுவலி பி ஒன் இன்சிடென்ட் உங்கள் சின்ன வயசில் ஏதோ அவங்க சொல்லியிருப்பாங்க, that would have created that full இது for you. But when you heal that, you'll be like, இல்லை, you'll be able to see through. அவங்க அந்த சுச்சுவேஷனில் ஒரு ஃபைனான்ஷியல் ஸ்ட்ரகிளில் போயிட்டாங்க. He was going to buy a land for us. அதனால தான் he was so stressed. எனக்காக தானே பண்ணாங்க. But that is his trauma. I can't change it. But he did all that with a good intention. Even if you've had irresponsible, bad parents, even that can be healed. You can go to that space, you will still be able to see that it is not yours to take it. It is theirs. It is their decision. They chose to be that way. This is your life. Ingeranda what you do, it is definitely yours. It is definitely mine. I cannot keep telling it's my parents. Yeah, அந்த ஒரு அவேர்னஸ் வர்றப்போ when we write, when you journal it out, leave it after you journal or 2 days with it, come back and read it. You'll be like, okay, this is what is happening. Because immediately if you read, you'll be like, yeah, this is right. What is, then you'll add more to it. Couple of days, you come back to it and you'll be like, wow, this is what's happening. Then you'll be able to see through, yeda heal pananum. Then you do that, right? You'll be so comfortable in your skin, and the aura that you'll hold even within your family. People will start looking at you in a different light. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Nice piece of advice. And I also wanted to ask you one piece of advice for a person who's going through a lot of self-doubts, ma'am. That is the last question I wanted to ask you.
Right? So self-doubt is a situation in our mind. Similar to you, my husband is quite on a fairer range, right? And he's a Malayali by background. And there is this notion that Malayalis are fair and Tamil people are dark, right? And I used to think for a very long time that why did he have to choose me? He could have actually ended up with somebody better than me. Because my self-worth, I thought I was only this much. I deserve, I'm fine with this. Why this? Like, the podume, And I had this belief in me that men should always usually get girls who are fairer than them. I don't know where it came, but it was ingrained in me. And I was like, actually, you're settling for something lesser than who you are. I actually talked him out of it. He said, no, I'm very sure about this. You are the person for me. I was like, okay, it's your loss. Like, can you believe I talked him out of it? That is how much I didn't have a worth, a sense of my own worth. So self-doubt is a symptom of what is going underneath, which is self-worth. Self-worth illa. And that is not your mistake. It would have been crushed, trampled, or put under fire under some childhood trauma. My childhood trauma happened when I was 3 years old. It was injustice, right? But my body showed up. I remembered that trauma when I was 25 years. Can you believe that? Because my body was trying to protect me. We don't need to deal with this now. And then one day, suddenly it came to me and I called my mom and asked. And she was like, actually, yeah, this happened. It destroyed me at that age. But I didn't remember for 22 years, but I had all the symptoms of it. My body knew that childhood trauma had happened and I carried it year after year after year. So that self-worth was not even there. But because of our society, we put a facade. How did I get my own self-worth? When I was doing my engineering, right? 8 semesters, right? Per semester, in my holidays, I'll go and do a project. I never stopped. I hustled. I worked hard like crazy. I'll travel all over India to present in symposiums. I'll win. It will never be enough for me because there's no self-worth. I'm trying to put all these things to fill it. So if you have self-doubt, there might be some self-worth identity mismatch that is there underneath, right? Not because you are that, but you might have gone through that. I would love you to journal it out. A letter to yourself. This could be a practical thing you could do if you're constantly stuck in that self-doubt cycle. Write a letter to your own self. Letter to Uma. Grab your favorite tea or coffee. Sit in a lovely, airy place. Take a few deep breaths and write. Just write to her. After a couple of days, come back to that and read. If there is anything that is like, Nana, did I write this? Do I look at me like this? Is that all who I am in my own eyes? Okay, childhood trauma happened. If it's your mistake or not, doesn't matter. But who puts that worth on that person? It is you. No matter what anybody says, it is us. I don't care if the world says another story. If there were rumors flying through the air, I don't care. But Lydia, what are you telling about yourself? What really happened? So that letter will give you an indication about if there is a self-worth issue, if your worth is crushed or not. then அந்த place of awarenessல இருந்து you can take active steps to heal and walk into all the freedom that you were meant to be, truly that you were born to be and achieve.
Okay, ma'am. Nice. Like நீங்க சொல்ல சொல்ல I was thinking maybe I should go and sit in my balcony and write a journal to myself.
You have a nice view.
Yeah, ma'am. So I thought like I'll go sit and write. நீங்க சொல்ல சொல்ல. Thank you so much, ma'am, because before coming to the podcast, I honestly thought நான் வந்து இந்த கேட்குற கொஸ்டின்ஸ்லாம் மற்றவங்களுக்கு ஹெல்ப் ஆகும். But I didn't know a lot of questions actually, were the answers that I was expecting for myself. அதை வந்து ஒரு தேர்ட் பர்சன் வியூவிலேருந்து சயின்டிஃபிக்காக எப்படி அது ஒர்க் ஆகுதுன்னு கேட்கும் போது இட் வாஸ் ரியலி ரியலி ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல் டு மீ அண்ட் ஐ ஹோப் லைக் பார்க்குற பீப்புளுக்கும் இது ரொம்ப ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கும்னு சொல்லி தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச் ஃபார் யோர் டைம் டுடே அண்ட் யூ செட் லைக் யூர் லீவிங் டு ஆஸ்திரேலியா next week. So I'm so glad that this podcast happened while you were here. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your time today.
Absolute pleasure, and you're doing an amazing work in this community, and I believe that you have a very strong message beyond what you can ask or imagine that is going to go out from this space. So I wish you all the very best for you and a beautiful marriage filled with lots of joy and happiness.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Absolutely, darling.
Thank you. நான் இன்னொரு சூப்பரான கெஸ்டோட நெக்ஸ்ட் எபிசோட்ல மீட். Bye.